Hello, this is Mark Brian Fuentes, and I'll be going over the polyester plate lithography process. So to start out, we'll be going over doing the initial transfer from your drawing or photo to the print. So right here in Photoshop, you're going to want to resize it. So right here we're taking a 8.5 by 11 kind of size page right here, and our polyester plate is 8.5 by 11. So right here we're just resizing it. So you're going to resize your drawing to have a 1-inch margin or around, like white margin around it. You're going to want to resize it to 6.5 by 9. So in Photoshop, you can set little guidelines using the little rulers on the edges there, so that you can resize it to the exact size you want. And then we will, once you have it resized, once you have it tweaked, tweak the levels, the contrast, whatever you're planning on doing. Once we save it, we're going to save as a Photoshop PDF. It's just easier to print instead of like an image. So once the settings come up for the Photoshop PDF, you're going to want to set it to set the compression settings to do not downsample. So downsampling will kind of make your image, once you print it out, it'll make it all like pixelated. When you're printing your polyester plate, make sure you print it through a laser printer and not through a commercial inkjet printer, because inkjet printers use water-based ink and it won't transfer the drawing as cleanly and as we want. It won't really transfer well onto the polyester plate. With laser printers, they use toner and oil-based inks, which will, transfer properly onto our polyester plate, since polyester plate is meant to receive oil-based inks, and that's the type of ink we'll be working with. So we'll so right here I'm using the laser printer that belongs to the university, and make sure you handle your plate with paper tabs or gloves, because our skin produces oils that will leave fingerprints once we start printing, so we want to prevent that. And right here I'm making a registration with some copy paper that I had that was the same size as our plate, 8.5 by 11. So I'm just making a registration that you're going to see later. So I'm going to be taking our polyester plate, taking a heat gun to it, and what this will do is help set our ink, help set our design our ink into our polyester plate, so that we won't run the risk of it fading away as we start printing, and it won't lift off the polyester. So yeah, just taking in a heat gun, just dispersing the heat over the plate, getting it nice and even heat dispersal. Alright, here we have a solution of apple cider vinegar and water. So the ratio for this solution is 1 cup of water and 1 ounce of apple cider vinegar. And right here, for example, this is about 8 cups. So now I have 8 ounces of apple cider vinegar, and we're going to submerge it for 2 minutes and 55 seconds. So have your phone timer ready. So we're going to submerge it here in the solution. You can see me doing that. And then I have my timer ready to go. And start it. And then let that go. And then once it goes off, as you'll see here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we will immediately pull this out of the solution and start rinsing it off just get that stuff off, because all we needed was to set the ink in place, and see, it won't interfere with our other solution, which is water. And yes, right here I have 76 ounces of water and 1 ounce of gum arabic, which we're going to mix that together, and we'll be using this to coat the top, like cover our polyester plate as we're using it. The gum arabic will prevent the ink from getting into the white areas of our polyester plate, and it won't interfere with that, and we can keep our design clean. So without this, our ink would just, when we roll it on there, it'll just like coat the plate rather than stick to the dark areas. So right here is our oil-based lithographic ink. A burnt umber. I like to use this. It's a more unique color. It's not just, black or a blue. I like the look. It has a sepia tone look once you start printing. And once I get a little bit, which is like a spoon, a little bit goes a long way with this process. So you're just going to want to get like a spoonful of ink and start working it on your glass surface with a palette knife, like right here. Just working it for like a minute or two, just to get it nice and loose and workable with our ink roller, which you can see right there. And once we have that ready, we will take our brayer. It's a really big one, and we're going to keep the rubber wheel facing us and the metal part sticking out away from us. And we're going to take just a little bit, we're going to just dab our brayer and just start rolling onto our glass work surface, our palette, so you could say, and start working it in, getting a nice layer to work with, coming in horizontally and vertically, just to get it nice and even, get a nice layer to work with. And we're not going to use all of the ink. We're just using a little bit at a time. Like I said, just dabbing our brayer into it a little bit and just getting a nice thin layer going. And if we need more, if it starts to lift off as we're using it, we just dab it again and start rolling it out. I sped this process up because it does take a while. Alright, we're going to take a big sponge, start getting a nice big puddle of water kind of going. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to use your water liberally. And then you can see here I'm getting a smaller brush just to easier to handle, just easier to spread around. So get a sponge, start spreading it around, and you want enough water. You want enough on the surface to kind of get some streaks going, but not like big puddles on the paper. And we have lots of water, so don't be afraid about using as much as you need. So we're just just spreading it around so you get some streaks. I wish you could be difficult to catch this because with the light we have to angle it, but you can just like get some nice streaks going, but not big puddles, because this water will also help stick to the surface and also just keep itself from sticking to our brayer. Because before, as I would go over with the brayer, it would often stick. And it would not be fun. Often it would stick to the brayer as I was rolling it, and I didn't put enough water, and it creased. I think it was like the first polyester plate that I tried doing, and now I know better. So now I have lots of water on there. Got some nice little dots of water, and then with this brayer, since it's pretty big, I'm able to just go horizontally in one big motion back and forth. And then you're going to want to put some more water on there in between passes. And I'll put more ink on my roller as well. And you can see here I'm kind of hesitating about which side to use, even though I just did it. But just remember, keep the metal part facing outward if you're using a brayer like this one. And then do another pass. You're gonna want to do like about two passes at most, maybe 3. But honestly, if you have enough pressure, you can do 2 passes. Right here, I'm getting my watercolor paper ready, spritzing it with some regular plain water, tap water, and then taking a sponge, slathering it, spreading it around, getting it even. Let it soak for just a little bit, and then soaking both sides to be sure. And this will help our image transfer a lot easier to our paper. And this is a process used for like all printing techniques. Intaglio dry point with an acrylic or metal plate, you're going to want to wet your paper, make sure it's nice and soaking in, nice and soaked, nice and damp. And when you're printing, it shouldn't have any like shiny wet spots. So you can always take like a paper towel and roll it up and kind of just lightly dab the paper if there's still like big wet areas. So now we have our registration. We're going to put our acrylic plate. Don't worry if there's water on the acrylic plate. There's acrylic plate. Don't worry if there's water on the polyester plate, because that's the point. So don't worry about it. If there's water on your plate, just put it on there. And you can see here I have a registration, as well as I also have this little cutout, which will prevent any ink that's on the white parts. If there's ink that does get on the white, a little margin, this will help prevent any of that getting on there. It's just a good habit to have it on there. It's a nice habit to have. And I'm just lining it up as carefully as I can. This cutout is a bit battle worn. I've used it for other prints before, but it served me well. And then I'm just taping one side so I can just open it like a book when I'm done, or I need to take out my plate. I think I'm trying to get my paper. I think it's sticking to the table. That's why it's taking me a while to get it. Or I'm just like re-wetting it because I was setting up the camera. So that's for the dead time. Yeah, I'm kind of bumping the camera by accident. So yeah, when your polyester plate or your watercolor paper is sticking to your surface, don't be afraid to use a clean palette knife, or maybe like a knife. I think I had a pocket knife on me that I was using to like kind of get the edge so I can lift it up because it was sticking to the surface. Alright, here's my paper. Laying it down, and I'm lining it up. I also have lines on the cutout for my watercolor paper, just lining it up and lining it in. And then I have some printmaking blankets, so I'm taking 2, a thick one with a thin one on top, and then this will help disperse the pressure. So yeah, I'm lining it up, keeping a hand on it so that the plate, the blankets and the plate underneath doesn't move. I'm just keeping my hand on there until it catches, and then just taking my hand off, watching my hands. You don't want to crush your fingers. Alright, and here I'm checking it out, just lifting it up, and then keeping a hand on and lifting the paper to see how my test print came out. Came up pretty well. After this, I adjusted the, after your test print, you're just going to want to use it as like a ballpark, as a measurement to change any other elements of your process. So if it's, more ink or even just, more pressure, I think I just adjusted the pressure just a little bit more by like maybe a 1/4 inch. On the dials, sorry. Yeah, just more pressure for my prints. So, we're going to resubmerge after the test print. You're going to want to resubmerge your plate again in the apple cider vinegar solution for another 2 minutes and 55 seconds. And then we're going to take it out and wash it again. It's only for after your first print. This is the only time you have to do this again. Afterwards, to clean your plate after each printing, you're just going to want to pass it through the press with some butcher paper, which is that brown paper that I had made the registration out of. Afterwards, we don't have to submit. We don't have to use this apple cider vinegar solution again for our session. So afterwards, you can just pass it through that paper until the image, till there's no image that comes out. Alright, so I think this is our camera ran out of battery, so we charged it, and once we got it fully charged and started recording, I was already on my third print. So these were coming out very consistent with the settings that I had, so I felt confident recording this one. This is the third one, so they're coming out pretty clean, and you can see here, sorry if my arm's covering it. I didn't realize that my cameraman set it that close, and I think at this angle you can see the water on the plate a little better. Oh, still covering it, never mind. So yeah, same process as before, getting some ink. And I think I do only one pass this time. Let's see. Yeah, this time I do it vertically. Nice and slow, nice pressure. And there, I just do one pass, or I guess 2 passes, you can call it. Or no, I do a second one, never mind. Yeah, 2 passes is the magic number. 2 is the magic number in this process. So just once, twice. Yeah, and I think I was debating to do a third one, but then I just put it down. And real quick, side note is you can see some of the spots of clear blank parts in our ink. We're going to want to just take some ink in that area. If it's on the left side, dab the left side of your brayer and just work that area till it gets covered again, just so we can have, we don't want any blank spots on our brayer, so you're going to want to remedy those as soon as you see them happen. So, yeah. Alright, this is our clean, consistent print. So I'm going to pass it through here, and like I said, this is my third print, so they were coming out very well. So this would technically be the final print, sort of. But after this, I would continue to do more prints until I got my 10 prints that I wanted. And then from those 10 prints, I chose my 5 edition. Out of those 10 prints, I guess selected my best 5, which they all came out pretty good. But, excluding the test print, because that one's meant to be bad. So yeah, this is the clean print. This was the polyester plate lithography process. Thank you for watching.